In today's Leeds news, Llorente obligation triggered, Leeds interest in Antwerp star, update on fan attack, and Maric return. Hi folks, Jer here, Tuesday morning, the 14th of May with your Leeds United news. Hope you're having a good week so far. There's a little bit of stuff to get into, won't mess around, we'll crack on. And we'll start off with potential exits from Leeds United, and we'll start with Diego Llorente. According to reports in Il Messaggero in Italy, Diego Llorente will leave Leeds United this summer on a permanent basis after the obligation to buy was triggered in his contract by Roma. According to the outlet on May 10th, they say that the Spaniard will cost Roma an estimated €5 million or 4.7 million pounds, having played 50% of their games this season, therefore triggering an apparent or a rumoured obligation in his contract. Despite this, Llorente isn't expected to stay long at Roma into next season and could be loaned straight back out as Daniel De Rossi looks to put his mark on the former Jose Mourinho side. There were also rumours earlier this year that Llorente could be bought by Roma and then sold for an immediate profit to Paris Saint-Germain, who were said to be interested in the player. A reported £18 million was the fee, the same fee that Roma refused to pay Leeds United last season that they had in their option to buy Llorente. However, that's now looking increasingly unlikely with the fact that the player himself has spent the bulk of the second half of the season and predominantly all of the time under Daniel De Rossi as an unused substitute for Roma, with the odd appearance here and there, but very much resigned to the bench after having a pretty much mainstay place in the Roma side in the first half of the season. Another report from Siamo La Roma also claims that Leeds United and Roma are currently said to be in talks about finalising the move for Diego Llorente to move away from Leeds on a permanent basis. More on that when we get it and when we see what's going around. It's a move that everyone has been seeing coming. I would be disappointed with the £5 million, but I think we all got our hopes up last year when we saw an £18 million option being put in a contract for a player who hadn't been playing particularly well at the time for Leeds. So £5 million is probably closer to the market value, but he still has a loan exit as well. So Leeds definitely looking at capitalising now and getting money in for these players as and when they can. So it looks like it could be the end of Diego Llorente. Two separate publications reporting that Leeds and Roma are in talks about the player moving on. Moving on ourselves, let's talk about potential incomings, and according to reports from Newsvald, Leeds are said to be interested in signing Antwerp start Mandela Keita, but they're not the only club, with several other clubs in the UK said to be interested in the player as well. The Belgian outlet report that there is interest from Leeds, Norwich, Blackburn, Nottingham Forest, West Ham United and Manchester United in the young midfielder. 22-year-old midfielder is said to want to move away from Belgium this summer, and Antwerp are quoted as looking for a jackpot fee for the player, who has been in fine form for them over the last couple of seasons. Regardless of what division Leeds are in next season, a busy summer is expected from Leeds, with upwards of 8 players could leave Leeds in the coming weeks, which means more reinforcements will be needed in the midfield area, especially if Leeds end up deciding to use Ethan Ampadu as a centre-back next season and not as a central midfield option. The report says that Leeds should look to get this deal done quickly if they want to nip in ahead of the competition and avoid any kind of a protracted transfer negotiation. It's also said that Leeds had interest in the player last summer but decided to wait on the move then, which may go for or against them depending on what way this goes. Now, Leeds, as I said, will need more midfield options, whether Keita is the answer for that. He's a young midfielder. Leeds do need some experience in the middle of the park, whether that's Ethan Ampadu stepping in there at some point in the future or bringing in an experienced midfielder. We know that Daniel Farke looked at Kenny McLean, Norwich's player of the year this season, last year, to add more experience in there. Whether a 22-year-old adds that, I don't know at the moment. We'll have to wait and see what happens there, because Archie Gray is expected to move back into the midfield area as well. That's another young player in there, so we'll wait and see. Anyway, moving on, let's talk about the update on the attack on a Leeds fan at Carrow Road at the playoff semi against Norwich. 2 men have now been arrested. 1 has been charged and 1 has been bailed in connection with the report. Norfolk police said the pair were arrested after a 60-year-old man reported being punched while outside Carrow Road. The object that is believed to have cut the neck of the individual is now said to not be a blade or a knife, but rather the edge of the can that was thrown and hit him in the neck. As I said, two men have been charged by this. One man has been charged, and one has been bailed on this. And more information will come out as and when we get it on this as well. But the Antwerp police have moved quickly. They're not finished with this yet. They do say they are still working to identify more individuals that were involved in this as well. So let's just hope, as I said yesterday, this doesn't boil over into the second semi-final and we see unwanted incidents at the ground on Thursday night. Moving on, let's talk about a potential surprise return for a man that I quite liked at the time, but I don't ever really think got a fair crack at the whip at Leeds, and that is René Maric, former Leeds United assistant head coach. René Maric is very much a man in demand at the moment, currently working with Bayern Munich, having gone back in a youth development role initially and now moved into looking after their under-19 side, and is said to be doing a fantastic job there, and a job so well that Bayern Munich are hoping to extend his contract beyond the end of this season when it expires. According to German outlet Tagestheizung, and I butchered that one, I know I have, they claim that Bayern are extremely pleased with the work that Maric has done at the club and would like him to stay beyond his current deal. There are also reports in Germany that Sunderland are keeping a close eye on René Maric in connection with their head coach role as they look to get a new manager in place for the start of next season's championship season, and Maric is said to be a name high on their list. And in a bit of a surprise move, Leeds United have also been linked with a possible return for René Maric. Maric worked under Jesse Marsch at Leeds United up until February 2023 when they were all relieved of their duties at the club, and it was always questioned whether the appointment of René Maric was a Jesse Marsch decision or was a Leeds United decision. Maric was very keen on bringing Chris Armas into the club, but struggled to get the coach in after his stint at Manchester United, and having not had an assistant for a considerable amount of time, Leeds moved to bring in René Maric. There was also question marks around how they got on with each other, as Jesse Marsch was consistently looking to bring in an additional assistant head coach, which was slightly unusual, having two assistant head coaches, and looked to move Maric on. I always have question marks about the relationship and the body language they had towards each other on the sideline. Maric could land a role with Leeds as the under-21 manager for next season. Leeds currently have somebody in there on a temporary basis, or he could come in as a youth development role similar to what he came into Bayern Munich on. Having to wait to see on that one as well. It is uncertain whether reports of this at this moment in time are actually true. It's coming from one news outlet. It's been picked up by a couple of online blogs as well and ran. So as of right now, I would take this with a little bit of a pinch of salt until it's confirmed from other news outlets as well. Right now, it's just the one and a couple of blogs. And the usual blogs I would try and avoid, but there's noise around it. It's out there, but I would hold off on making any kind of opinion on this one right now. I like René Maric. I think he's done a very good job with the clubs that he's been with. He's been in the Red Bull model. He's been at Borussia Dortmund, where he was very much liked at Borussia Dortmund as well. He was said to have a very good relationship with the Leeds United players when he was at Leeds as well. A man that was fond of Leeds and didn't want to leave Leeds at the time. And when everyone else did leave the club at that moment, I was surprised that Maric wasn't the one that was retained in a coaching capacity while the rest were moved on. But there could be a slight possibility that René Maric could return to Leeds United this summer when his contract expires at Bayern Munich. But as I said, there is other interest in him, and there's not a second or third source on this yet to confirm whether this report is true or not. And that's going to be it for me today, folks. I'll probably get back tonight with some sort of a match review and preview for the upcoming game against Norwich. I'll try and get that done tonight if I can, so keep an eye out for that. It might be a live stream, might be a recorded video. Just keep an eye out for it if you're interested in that kind of stuff. And if you're not, I'll be back tomorrow morning for more Leeds news. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll talk to you then. See ya.